Hey, I'm Jeff Bounds, and I'm the head of retail with Grant Cardone Enterprises.
And my name's Steve Spray, Director of Sales.
And we got an important message for you guys today. We're having an emergency webinar August 15th on how to become a master at phone skills and communication. As you see behind us here, this is the house that Grant Cardone built purely by leveraging the phone. Follow me. So we want to give you guys a little sneak peek here inside of Cardone Enterprises and let you see how important the phone is to our organization. So here's a sneak peek inside 10X headquarters here. And what you see behind us, the phone is not just for sales. This is our customer service operation here at Cardone Enterprises. And every single day, our business is leveraged by being a master on the phone. So take a walk.
So guys, in here we have over 20 people on the phones making sales. They're doing cold calls, warm calls. We're doing calls that we're getting in front of the hardest people to sell in the world.
If I could put an extra $1 million into your business this year, what would that do for you guys? He hung up.
Let me show you exactly what our sales team's doing right now. They're on the phones, they're working deals. We're gonna teach you exactly how we set up a call. This is my guy, Jared, right here. He's working with a guy right now. He's got a coach next to him. We're gonna teach you every single thing that you need to do, say, how to pitch via a video presentation. If your sales has changed and now you've got to sell more online, if you got to sell through virtual video, that is going to be something that is new to you, and we're going to teach you the best practices and how to sell millions of dollars through the phones.
And then of course you got Grant Cardone every day that's coming to you from this smartphone in about 8 to 10 minutes to help your people with the hardest parts of their job. Whether it's closing deals, whether it's following up, whether it's handling objections. Does that make sense?
And we want to invite you to join us on August 15th for a live webinar on phone skills and communication. As you see behind us here, this is 10X headquarters. This is the classroom that we have here. And we were gonna have an event here in August on phone skills and communication mastery. But obviously with everything going on right now in the world, we wanted to make sure that there was no question that we can get this information to you, because I think you would agree over the past 3 or 4 months, the whole world has had to pivot through COVID-19. And I gotta tell you right now, more than ever, phone skills mastery and knowing how to communicate with your customers is essential to being able to move forward into 2020 and into 2021 and being able to maximize your sales. So look, I invite you to join us August 15th at noon. We're going to be dropping so much value, so much knowledge to you in this webinar. I promise you it'll be one thing you don't want to miss. Join us then. Hi, I'm Jeff Bounds.
And I'm Steve Spray.
And this is the 10X Automotive Weekly. Hey man, we're super excited to be with you guys today. We have a value-packed show today, man. I mean, Steve and I have been thinking about this all week. We were like, hey, what can we put together for you guys? And we're talking to the managers, the big kahunas, the dealer principals, those of you that are trying to build out your team. Maybe right now you're just trying to hire a new team, or you got some people there that you got to get jacked up and you got to hit those numbers, man. We're going into the third quarter of the year, and now more than ever, we got to turn it up, man. We got numbers we got to hit, and we got to cover some lost ground that we had through this pandemic. So for those of you out there that are continuing to move forward, and I know some of you are hitting record months, hey, that's fantastic. You know what we need to do now? We need to set new records. What do you think about that, Steve?
Yeah, momentum is going to be the most important thing. But one thing that we were talking a lot about was, companies do different things when it comes to how they want to train people and how they do certain things. But it almost seemed like every company, to some fashion, runs sales meetings.
Yeah.
But when we go in and we look at it, it's almost like, man, there's so many obvious things missing, and they're not getting the value out of the meeting. So, man, I'm jacked about today's meeting or today's call, because we're going to talk about how to really maximize the opportunity so that way they can carry the momentum into the rest of the year.
Yeah. And here's the bottom line. The bottom line is no one has ever become great doing something one time, right? And you can't just wing it. You got to know what you need to do. And when you have your meetings, and today we're talking about the 3 ways to 10X your sales meeting, the 3 ways that you're going to take your team and be able to get their mind right and be ready to dominate in the marketplace. So first of all, we want to talk about what we do here every single day at 10X headquarters, which is we have a morning meeting. every single day at 9:05. And I'm going to strongly suggest that you do the same. Because listen, and here's Francisco, by the way. Say hi, Francisco. He's the guy behind the scenes that makes everything happen.
Fix up the
But
mic.
the bottom line is this. The bottom line is you need to have a meeting every single day, especially now more than ever. Because look, man, you got to get people's mind right. I mean, we have so many distractions today. I mean, there's distractions anyway. But all you have to do is just turn on the internet, go on social media, watch the news for more than 10 seconds, and everybody's attention is going to be on something that they can't control.
That's a problem, actually.
Yeah.
That's a major problem, because that's what most people are doing when they come in. Instead of having a training program, they're actually waking up, they're watching garbage, and then they're coming into the meeting where somebody's trying to actually get them excited and keep them pumped up. So that's an issue. I know we've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, because think about this, right? You know, most dealers, your people are going to show up 8 o'clock, 8:30, 9 o'clock, you know, maybe take a call, start, you know, phoning back the internet leads, work somebody in service, hopefully. How do you know their mind's right, man? I mean, life gets in the way. Maybe they got into a traffic accident on the way to work. Maybe they got in a fight with their significant other. Maybe they had a problem with their kid. You got to get them to reset that, check it at the door, and get prepared to do and to keep the main thing the main thing. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is to create the consistency. So if you're going to work with us here at 10X headquarters, you will be there at 9:05 every single day in the meeting, or you will not continue working here. And that's the sort of culture that you need to create at your dealership, not to punish people, but to create a team, to create the synergy inside of your dealership to keep everyone on the same page. So Steve, let's talk to everybody a little bit about some of the things that we do every single day that frankly, I really enjoy.
Yeah, totally. Well, one of the first things, like you said, is just, you know, really showing up on time. Like that is, it's not even a punishment. It's the expectation. It's setting the mindset that, dude, we're coming in here for purpose and staying focused. And that's really one of the big things. Like if you can't get that right, how are you going to get the rest of your day right? You know, so really setting the stage on that. And, you know, look, if it becomes an issue, look, you just show up like 10 or 15, like most people show up like 15, 20 minutes early because like they're ready to be part of this meeting that we have. Now, one of the number one things, and this is the first thing into actually making your sales meetings great, you got to have some good content to help ignite that meeting. And what we've done is we actually use Cardone On Demand, and we train in virtual training segments every single day. So instead of watching Instagram and YouTube or maybe I am doing something positive, but I'm just pulling it from all over the place, no consistency, I'm actually gonna do a structured training path every single day. So like the perfect sales meeting wouldn't actually be one meeting. It would be meetings that happen for 1 week, 2 weeks at a time, that every single day we're focused on one topic.
Yeah.
So like you were saying earlier, we were talking about, you know, hey, you could spend a whole month on follow-up, and you really should. Like if you're actually seeing training and sales meetings as something that should produce a result, which it should, then in what world do you live in where you think you can run one meeting that's going to produce a successful result?
No, totally. And the thing that Grant always talks about, and one of the things I live by, man, you got to be up 2 hours earlier than what you need to get to work, right? So it's like, if you got to be at work at 9, you better at least be up at 7 o'clock, 6:30, hopefully 6 o'clock to get your mind right. How many of you guys are still getting dressed in the parking lot? I know it's still happening, man. You're out there, you're putting on your polo, you're strapping up your tie, man. You're getting your shirt out of your dry clean bag and you're rolling in. Dude, that's not the way to start it, man. You're discombobulated. You need to get your game right before you even get in the damn car, right? Hopefully on the way to work, you're listening to some training tapes. Hopefully you're listening to some of the information we have here on Cardone On Demand, because you got to be prepared, man. I always talk about prepare and practice, and you bleed less in war, right? You got to do it every single day. I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I'm not positive every single day. But I got to check myself when I get in. I got to get into the material. I mean, I got to get right trained on something that's going to get me to move to the next level. So what we're going to be talking about today is we're going to talk about 3 ways where you can 10x your sales meeting. And then we're also going to talk about something that you can also tie together in unison to really make this stick. So with that being said, the number one thing we just talked about, it's got to be daily. Now you may be thinking like, Jeff, come on, bro. I don't have time to be having a meeting every single day. Look, I understand. But the one thing you do have time for is 10 to 15 minutes. And you may need to do this twice because you may have an A team, you may have a B team. You may have some folks showing up at 9 a.m., you may have some folks coming in around 12 or 1 o'clock. Both instances, you need to get with that team, hopefully with a team leader, sales manager, somebody, and get their mind right. Check in with them and then find out where their head is at every single day. Now more than ever, you got to do it. And Steve, I mean, look, how important is that, man? Just for you, your situation.
Well, it's so vital. I mean, it's if you could just imagine all the different things that could happen. I mean, even to me, like, I got a pretty good structured life where, I'm dialed in, I'm running, but things happen, things get in the way. Like it's part of the success formula, so you can hear all successful people talking about it, and like you mentioned something there just a second ago. You said, guys, if you've got the objection that, hey, I don't have time, I would personally tell you that the reason you don't have time is because you're not doing these meetings, because you're not getting people on the same page, because you're dealing with so many problems throughout the day, you're not even starting your day right. And so what happens is, look, start this stuff every single day because it's like the first stable data that gets the day going. You ever have a bad day, you wake up, can't find the right tie, you're running late for work, and then like, man, that thing just like trickles every single day. Well, it's the same thing if you just set your day up successfully.
No, totally. And I just want to touch on that. Everybody knows Steve Jobs. If you don't know him, you've been under a rock somewhere, and I apologize. But what did Steve Jobs do every single day? He wore a black shirt.
Yep.
Why do you wear a black shirt? Because he didn't have to think about it, man. When I get ready to go to work the night before, I lay everything out. Why? Because when I wake up, it's got to be consistent. I can't be like thinking about what jacket am I going to put on today? What shirt am I going to put on? If I'm wearing a tie, what tie am I going to put on? I do it the night before, and everything that I do every single day is scheduled out. I will tell you one thing that changed the game for me is I schedule out my day and I schedule out my time because it puts you in that habitual process of knowing what to do, so you don't even have to think about it. But if you don't do that, I promise you're never going to get consistency. And consistency is everything. So look, you might be thinking about, hey, what am I going to talk about every single day for 10 to 15 minutes? I'll tell you one thing right now that I hope you guys are still doing. You got to talk about the new inventory, man. You got some new product in. I know you guys are going to say, hey, Jeff, I don't even have enough inventory right now. I'm with you, man, but maybe you got some new cars in on trade. Maybe you bought some cars at the auction. How many of you guys do a lot walk? How many of you guys have your people prepared so when you get a caller on the phone, because I know how you guys roll, man, the car comes in, they trade it in, you pop it on the website, there's no photo, it's got to go into recon, and then what's going to happen, man? The next day somebody's going to hit you up and say, hey, I saw this car on your website, man, when can I come and see it? How come you don't have any pictures? Your people have to be prepared. Hey, man, I'm super excited that you called on that car. Here's the great news, man. We actually just took that car in last night. So we just posted it. We're actually running through the shop right now. It's a super clean call. Let me get your cell number, man. I'm going to go back and text you some pictures of it. Dude, that's next level right there. You know what most of your people are saying? I'm looking at the site here, and yeah, I'm really not sure.
Check.
There's no certainty, man. Every single day you got to be talking about it, man. I know you get those gems in. And right now, everybody's switching to pre-owned. I was just looking the other day at a report that came out from Car Gurus and just showing the graphs on new cars and pre-owned, and the demand is super high right now for pre-owned. I mean, obviously the values of the pre-owns are through the roof. So if you get a special car out there, and I'll tell you something else too, man, people are buying vehicles. We were just talking about the other day, boats. People are buying $300,000 boats right now, man. So if you think that the propensity to buy is not there, you're sadly mistaken.
Yeah. Anytime I ever put my attention on anything, anytime new inventory comes in, we get a new product, and especially when I was working directly in the dealership, every single morning I was personally looking at my inventory sheet, and I was thinking about who have I talked to recently that would fit this new product that came in. So that's something that you got to do every single day. Do you think that they know about? You think they know about the coaching?
I doubt it.
You doubt it? Doubt it? Let's do this, because we're talking about consistency and doing something every single day. Look, there's no way that you guys can do this on your own. And so this is probably why it's not happening in the first place. Can you guys show my screen right here? I want to show you guys our coaching program. This is the Cardone Automotive Coaching Program. Now, most dealers, they got so much going on that they don't have time to come up with the right material to have a long-standing sales meeting. So what we did was we built out an actual path where you could identify, hey, what are we working on this week or this month? And that way you could get a step-by-step structure of any category. So let me give you an example right here. Now, when I go in, let's just say we're working on prospecting. This is a big topic right now. We're talking about used cars, selling new inventory. We're talking about things that we have, but dude, what is your team's game plan? Most people have never been taught how to build a pipeline, how to work a pipeline, how to actually make the calls, the contacts, who to reach out to, what to text, email, or send as a virtual video. And what we're going to do here in this program is give you a step-by-step procedure of how to master this particular topic. So you would simply play the video from Grant in the morning with your team or individually, and then discuss this topic and actually work it out with your people. So if you guys aren't doing this right now and you don't have time, it's probably because you don't have the material. So our automotive coaching program, Nathan, you want to flash up the pricing on that one? That way we can get it for everybody. Guys, we're doing a deal right now for our automotive coaching program. You can get coaching calls every single week from our automotive trainer with these virtual videos that we're talking about. So you'll do daily videos and then you'll get a coaching call every single week. We got that for $19.95 per month. Or if you guys want to dial down the coaching calls and you just want 2 coaching calls per month and videos every single day, it's $9.95 per month. So simple, easy program. This is something that you should all be on with your team, because if you're not, what happens, you get outside of what me and Jeff are talking about is the number one rule. Dude, you got to do it every single day. You got to be consistent. And this is what's going to make for the perfect environment as you're running your sales meetings.
And I love that because, look, man, if you're a GSM, your general manager, sales manager, team lead, whatever you're doing inside of the dealership, look, I know you guys can train your people. I know you guys are skilled. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in the role that you're in. But the one thing else that I know for sure is you're limited for time. So trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with all these different strategies, it just doesn't make sense when you can have a laid out process to how to do what you need to do. So right now, maybe it's phones, right? Maybe you need to learn how to be great on the phone. So you need to make that your topic for the month. So every single day, you're going to put a little tidbit in there on the phone. You're going to drop something in. You might implement a little bit of role play. You're not going to tell, the team who's going to role play and who's not. But you just got to keep it moving, man. You got to keep it interesting, because if you keep it on phones every single day, people are going to start to pick up the information. And then guess what? When they get out of that meeting and the phone rings, it's fresh in their mind. The problem is most people, they'll have a Saturday morning sales meeting. Half the people are checked out. If you do talk about training, you talk about it one time and then that's it. And then that one little bit of information doesn't stick. That's why it's important every single day. So what that looks like is you have your meeting. Let's say it's on follow-up. I love follow-up. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's the greatest sales secret, right? You got to follow up. Right. So the bottom line is this. You're going to talk about on a Saturday, hey, man, we're going to talk about follow-up today, man. Here's the top 3 ways that you guys need to implement follow-up. And then what I want all of you to do is I want you to go back into Cardone On Demand, and I want you to complete these 10 segments. Then how you're going to keep them accountable with that is you should have one-on-ones at least twice a week. I'm a big believer in having one on Monday and having one on Friday. Why? Because on Monday, you're coming off the weekend. You're going to recap what happened, what were the wins, what deals do you still have pending to hopefully get them to reach back out. Maybe you could do, early manager intervention on that call. Just handle it, call the customer, check in, find out what's going on. You're going to talk to them about where they are towards hitting their goal for the month. Extremely important, because if they set the goal, which you should do at the first meeting of the month, what's your goal for this month? Jeff, I'm going to sell 20 cars. Excellent, Steve. So let me ask you this question, man. Let's do the reverse math on that. How are you going to sell 20 cars? Do you know how you're going to sell 20 cars? Most people are going to say no. You need to figure that out. How many calls? How many demos? How many write-ups? How many different things do you have to put into the fold? How many prospecting calls are you going to have to make to try to drive new traffic? Because you just can't wait for it to walk in. You can't wait for the phone to ring. You have to jump out and gain that business. So you're talking about that, the beginning of the month, setting the baseline. Then every single week on Monday, hey, how do we do over the weekend? Where are you at? Well, I'm at 6 cars right now. Awesome, man. We need to have you at 12 cars right now to be on pace. What do we need to do? Who do we need to call? Do we need to get you some orphan owners to call? Do you need to call some people in the service lane? You got to figure that out. Then on Friday, whatever goal you set on Monday, Friday, you're looking at that target. Was that target met? Because that's how you're going to manage your team successfully, by setting the target, managing to it, and then looking at it. And then you, every single week, it's like a revolving thing, every Monday, every Friday. And then in between, you're touching base in the sales meetings. Now, in the sales meetings, I don't want you to talk about negative stuff. I don't want you to talk about
anything negative.
Yeah, nothing negative, not like what you missed, what you did wrong. We want to talk about wins. So if Steve went out and just literally buried somebody in a car and had like a $4,000 payable on the vehicle, which I'm still hearing about those, by the way. He got a $4,000 payable. Hey man, tell everybody, give them the vision that it's possible. Because I don't know about you, but when I see other people winning, I love it, because it's a prosperity mindset, right? I'm not going to be a hater and be like, oh man, I wish I'd had that customer. It's showing me that it's possible. I just got to get out there and get mine. Grant always talks about who's got my money. That's what you got to be thinking about, man. What do you need to do? Who do you need to engage with to get the opportunity?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. So, and if you don't know that, now I think a lot of what you're talking about there too could just be summed up into setting an expectation with people. So on those Monday and Friday meetings, and really finding out, hey, what's your target? Where do you need to be to get there? And this is where throughout the month, if you knew what the target was in the first place, then you can measure. You know what I mean? Where it's just, we look at math around here. That's all we ever do is our entire company is ran off graphs. Everything. It is just simply, here's the target, here's how to get to the target. And anytime we're off pace, we just go back and look at the numbers. We don't look at feelings. We don't look at like, hey, what's happening over here and there. We're just like, hey, what does the data say? Are you on pace? Are you off pace? Why are you off? Where do you need to add? Do you need to, do something a little bit more, take your attention off certain areas and put it more onto outbound prospecting? That's how the whole thing is ran. And without expectations, well, that can be very confusing. Because if you're my manager and you pop in the 15th of the month and you're like, well, where are the deals at? But you never set the expectation in the beginning, and that I would get confused. And I'd be like, well, what do you mean? Yeah. Nobody's coming to the dealership, and I would start looking for different things. And that's why this is such a good topic, because it lays out a very nice set of expectations where you get your whole team on the same page, you know? So that way people aren't confused.
You want to know why people don't do this?
Why?
Because they think that you're micromanaging. That's false data.
Yeah, totally.
Because there's a huge difference between micromanaging and coaching. And that's what we were just talking about, our coaching program. Management, you need to be coaches. You need to be leaders. You don't need to be managers. Nobody needs managers. They need people to jump in and guide your people to be able to create success and show them how to get there. Because I can tell you right now, I can walk into any dealership in America and talk to a sales team. Maybe one or two are going to know what their goals and targets are. Maybe one or two actually have it laid out of what they want to do with their year, what their objectives are, why they're there every single day. Because I can tell you right now, you got to have a target of why you're showing up every single day. So you need to touch base with them to help them understand what that is. Because if you're just going to assume that they know, that's why you keep getting these bad results, and you keep burning people out, blowing people out, hiring new people and thinking it's going to change. It's your responsibility to show them. And if you show them, they're going to get it, and then they're going to start to see more success. Because we were just talking the other day about, what were we saying about the number of how many phone calls it takes for somebody to really get what we're doing here?
Oh, for how many?
Yeah.
Oh, well, after years of research and figuring out exactly what it takes, about 18,000 outbound dials was the number where we took a brand new salesperson. He would have success in getting sales throughout that time. But for somebody to fully develop where we don't need to have him partner with somebody, it was more of like, hey, at 18,000, if he was quick, he would be off on his own. The people that were maybe a little bit lagging behind, and maybe took a little bit extra time, they were at like 20,000 or 21,000 dials outbound. And these guys are doing, 300 calls a day. So that's, it's about 4 to 6 months, right? So at that point, we could take a brand new hire, bring them in this environment, get them to a place where they were fully professional at maximizing this opportunity. And because we have the data and we look at the data, we actually knew, and we had expectations where when you come in here, hey, you come in here, hey, listen, Sam, your job is you got to do 4 hours of talk time every single day, and you got to do a minimum of 200 dials. So we set that expectation, and then throughout the week, we're just looking at, hey, where you at on pace? And not even that, we actually look in the daytime. So every day at like noon, right around noon, as I'm just like looking at my time, so I'm looking at my guys saying, hey Sam, here's where you are. I'll just tell him where he's at. I don't need to tell him, hey man, what's happening? I just need to tell him, hey Sam, this is where you're at, bud. And that way he knows, he's like, okay, I need 4 hours of talk time, I need 200 dials, and so he can gauge where he's at. And we set the expectation. We said, hey, first, this is how the type of money that you want to make happens right at this number right here. So this is where we want to get you. Our job is to get you there as quick as possible. Here's how, after like thousands and like literally millions of dials, this is what we found works. So then we set that expectation, which is in alignment with what you're talking about here.
Yeah, so here's a little tidbit for you guys, right? So we just had 2 new people join our organization here that are working for us inside of the automotive division, and they're doing outbound calling. They're new to the organization, they're new to the role. So we had them scheduled to make certain calls to certain customers to build the muscle, right? Here's some gold for you. And I got a question at the same time. Number 1, how many of you, when a new person comes in, more specifically BDC related, are you actually having them train on the phone before they really start engaging with live customers? Would love to know that answer. And there's number 2. This is what you should be doing. You have a new person that starts in the BDC. I know you guys have CRMs full of orphan owners, full of people that didn't buy, full of people that are in the 60, 90, 120-day internet lead bucket. Those are the people that your new folks should be calling to get the repetition in. It's all about reps. I mean, I hear these guys pounding the phone all day, making 5,000 dials, 6,000 dials, 4 hours of talk time every single day. Some of these people have done 6 and 7 hours of talk time every single day. I'm not telling you that to impress you. I'm telling you that because that's what it takes. Now, there's a guy out there named Malcolm Gladwell that says to become a master, you need to invest 10,000 hours into something. So my question for you is, when you're training your team, or for those of you that are out there, maybe you just joined the car industry, maybe you've been in it for a while, have you put in the reps? Are you continually making the calls? Are you doing what you need to do? So when you're doing your one-on-ones, you need to look at these metrics. So the graphs that we have here, the stats that we have here have given us the opportunity to know where we're going to finish up the month, has given us the opportunity to move through this pandemic and still create massive levels of success because it happens day in and day out. So in the automotive business, you could do the same thing. You just got to have a guide to be able to get you there. That's why our coaching program is so powerful, because we're going to show you how to do that. Because look, the reality is, if you already knew that, you would be doing it today. But the problem is your people are coming in, you're not onboarding them properly, but we can show you ways to make that happen. So if you have a challenge out there right now, you got to hire some new people, you're bringing new individuals inside of your dealership, reach out to us, man. We can show you a way to be able to take your onboarding to the next level, be able to get people hired up, ready to go, so you create a machine inside of your dealership.
Yeah, that's right. And one thing, you mentioned something earlier that I want to use as an example right now. You mentioned people don't like to be micromanaged, and the way that we set it out is it's not even like that. It's more of like, like a GPS. Like you type, let's say we're trying to go to Disney World. We type in the address, man. Well, dude, was the GPS micromanaging me, or is it just telling me which way to go? Analogy. So we're really like, we figured out how to be successful, and we're really just and that's the way we set it up. And then we guide the employees and just basically show them the way, so you're never being punished. I remember one of the topics that you wanted to talk about, and you did touch on it, was only talk about successes. So we are just acknowledging people all the time. So every day we're saying, hey, good job, man. Listen, you're right on track. You did X amount, you're right where you need to be. Like on a brand new guy, hey, listen, you're doing the right thing. That's the right, you got to the right, hey, we amp that up, we get to where you want to go quicker. What I'm saying?
Well, not only that, I mean, the other thing too is like you get a new hire, you put them in a BDC, you throw them in the back of the room in a closet in a cubicle somewhere and say, hey man, make some dials.
How much confidence do you get when you get stuck back there with no training, no support? You're wondering like, dude, what am I doing back here?
I mean, look, in our department, we're physically there. We're listening to calls. We're intervening into calls. We're telling them what to say, what to do, helping them be able to overcome objections, jumping in, doing TOs on the calls. You guys should be doing this too. Whoever's running your BDC is not there just to be a babysitter. They're there to lead and coach these new folks to show them how to do it. This is something that I'm big on. I'm big on creating respect by action. I don't want people to follow me because I got a title. I want people to follow me because I get it done. And I want people to follow me because I'll jump in and get dirty and make it happen, because I'm not afraid to jump on a call. I'm not afraid to shoot somebody an email. I'm not afraid to do a TO, because that's why I am where I am. It's the same with Steve. I mean, he's jumping in every single day on these calls, man.
Yeah.
But how much has Sam grown in 2 weeks? Unbelievable.
Massively. Like, I mean, it's quick because they can see quick what happens. Like, oh wow, this is like, it's almost like the Big Brother thing. Oh wow, that's what Big Brother did, man. I'm going to do that on my next one. You know. But if we don't ever get to show them that, and we don't ever get enough reps out there, like Grant wrote something up on the wall when I first got here. We used to have these walls that you could write on with the magic marker or whatever. And he came in and he just wrote in front of my desk. He said, "Frequency before good." He said, "Get frequent before you get good," because we knew that, dude, you had to get out there. But then he would pop in, just like you're saying. Look, this is where, you know, management here does the management intervention. We pop on. Grant's been doing this. If you guys go look, if you guys just type in on YouTube, Grant Cardone cold call, there'll be a video that pops up. It's got 2 million views on it. And it's actually Grant popping in on a sales guy's call, saying, "Hey, how's my guy doing?" Really intervening. And like, dude, yeah, we got the deal, but we got millions of dollars worth of deals because of the training that was happening in there. And one statistic that I want to bring up, I was reading a report the other day, industry statistic, where they studied people, they studied sales teams basically, and it showed that there was an 84% increase in production when the individual, the salesperson, was actively being coached. And so when you're
Hold on a second, let's unpack that.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Hey, pay attention. 84%. 84%. Why? I'm going to tell you why. Because there's a huge difference between training and coaching. Why? Because when you're coaching, it gets real. What do I mean by that? If you really want transformation, here's some goal for you. So whoever's watching this, whatever industry you're in, I have some friends here from Italy. How you guys doing? I see that we got Susan on here. You're enjoying this. I'm glad you said you're ready for the next level. I love that, man. You should join our phone skills webinar that's coming on. That'll get you to the next level. But watch this. If you really want transformation, you need to coach your people in the moment, course correct them, not put them down. Lights are going off in here. Not put them down. Say, "Hey, you did really well with this. There's a couple things that I'm continuing to see. We just need to tweak this just a little bit." And then when you're jumping into the call, after the call, you say, "Okay, let me show you what I did here. And let me explain this to you." So you're in the moment of what they're doing every single day. You're helping them course correct. You're hammering it into their mind with repetition. And because our guys are making so many calls, I've seen with this guy that we just hired, I'm blown away how far he's been able to go in 2 weeks, just to the point that Steve said, the frequency,
Fast.
the engagement, us watching, listening, guiding, helping. And not only that, you're going to create longevity with your people. Because the number one thing that somebody wants to feel when they're with an organization is they want to feel like they're part of the team, they want to feel acknowledged, and they want to make sure that you're there to help them. Because what's going to happen is they're not going to tell you, "Hey man, I don't know what I'm doing. Hey man, I'm frustrated." They're just going to quit. And you're going to wonder, like, why is there a revolving door? So it's just little, small, simple things. So that's a tip for you guys right there. If you get nothing out of what we talked about today, get this out. I'm going to say it again because it's extremely important. If you're coaching a sales team, whether you're coaching the sales team, customer service, whatever you're coaching, listen to what they're doing every single day. Literally have somebody there that's monitoring their call and help them walk through it. Help them when they're stuck. Help them get through it. Because what you're doing is you're helping them break through the terror barrier. You're helping them break through what could potentially be call reluctance if you don't pay attention to it. So look, we're talking a lot about calls right now. I'm extremely passionate about the phones. I mean, for me, the phone is everything. If you really want to take your life to the next level, Susan, you say you want to get to the next level, I'm going to tell you how to get to the next level. Any of you today that are watching this and you want to get to the next level, and I'm going to challenge you with this. If you, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, if you think you're a 10 on the phone, don't come. But if those of you that are realistic, I'm not even a 10, man. I'm not a 10. If you say you're a 10, you're lying to yourself because no one's ever perfect. Every single day, I'm going to get better. You need to join us on this phone skills webinar. We just threw it up here on the screen. It's next Saturday. It'll be Steve and I, August 15th, next Saturday at noon. We're going to spend with you, I promise you, at least 3 hours going through how to become a master on the phone. We're going to give you every script, every strategy, every tactic that we use here every single day. And I think by our measurement, we've been pretty successful with it. So if you want to learn from somebody, don't go on Facebook, don't go on YouTube, don't go on Instagram and buy somebody's course. You don't even know who they are, man. They're probably living in a trailer somewhere trying to sell you phone skills. We have built a monster here all by the phone. Grant has built this mega empire by leveraging the phone, still does it every single day. We are going to give you all of that information in 3 hours. And I'm going to tell you this is what I'm going to do for you guys. Those of you that are watching, if you email steve@grantcardone.com in the next 24 hours, I'm going to let you come to the webinar free. The next 24, you want to come to the webinar for free? I believe in all you guys, man. Look, just come. I want you to come because I promise you it'll change your life. Email steve@grantcardone.com and put in there the code word 10x weekly free. And I got to get the email between now and this time Saturday morning. We'll give you a code to go for free. That's how much I believe in what we're doing. You got to get your game on, man. I'm tired of hearing about people switching jobs, not winning, getting minis, getting frustrated, going to a different dealership, trying this, trying that. Just invest in yourself. That's the best thing you can ever do. Invest in yourself to get you to the next level. And you've got to train, you got to get somebody that's behind you. So let me tell you what's going to happen on Saturday, right? The 15th. We're going to give you 3 hours of content, right? Then we're going to have a product. I can barely lift it. I'm going to fall out of the chair. Woo. Look how big this thing is, man. This thing's a monster. So over 450 pages of everything that we've used here at Cardone Enterprises to build our empire. Everything's going to be in here. Scripts, role play, the whole 9 yards.
Well, we were actually going through what we're going to be talking about on Saturday yesterday.
Yeah.
And dude, I mean, it's so deep. I mean, there's even going to be a section in there where we're going to actually write scripts.
Yeah.
Build scripts out for people. So like if you have ever, I mean, just coming to it to basically figure out, hey, is what I'm doing the right thing? Is there something I could tweak on it? Because I'll tell you what, you know, that's the first step. So having the right script would be the first step, but there's so much more to it, you know? So
how many of you guys have a script? Just hit me in the chat. Do you have a script? If you're in sales, do you have a script? That's all I want to know is if you have a script. You have a script, put yes, I have a script. If you don't have a script, you're winging it. The reason that you need a script is because the problem, you're calling somebody. If you don't have a script, you're thinking about on the fly what you're going to say instead of listening to what the customer's saying. And we were just talking about this here yesterday. We were on a call, and I asked the guy, I said, let me ask you a question. What is his biggest problem right now? So he asked him, he says, hey, what are your biggest challenges? Oh, blah, blah, blah. I said, look, handle him by asking, let me ask you this question, just why I asked you guys earlier. Today, if I was going to look at all your salespeople, how would you rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest on the phones? Guy says there's 6. Excellent. How much money is that costing you because they're not a 10? You got to ask customers, man, you got to have hooks. If you're selling something, you better have a really good hook because you can't be like, I got some information. Everybody's got information. Everybody wants information. You got to give them something that's going to solve something that they have a problem with and they see themselves getting the benefit out of it. Then they're going to want to hook up with you. Then they're going to want to give you 10 minutes. What are we going to talk about? What are we going to talk about next Saturday, man? What's going to be? Give them some gold right here, bro.
Well, we're going to dive into hooks and interest, how to get people's attention on the phone. A lot of the people that we're talking to right now, I mean, we're going to handle inbound calls. We're going to handle outbound calls. We're going to handle warm calls, cold calls. And really diving deep on all these is really important because I'll tell you what, I see a lot of people who don't have a strategy for any of them. So they're guessing on every single call. So we're going to get into hooks. We're going to get into interests. And like you mentioned right there, you said you got to be able to listen to them. Well, dude, if you don't have the right questions to ask, I'm gonna spend a whole section on the right questions to ask about, dude, are you getting the right information? Because what happens is you reached out to them to create some interest, and if they weren't interested, guess what? You got to ask the right questions to get the wheels turning for them, so that way they can start thinking about, oh, you know what? Maybe I need this.
So I got my main man Joey on here from Anderson Ford of Bullhead City. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
Thanks for jumping on. So he's saying, yeah, I have a script, but I don't always use it. Why? Why don't you always use the script, man? You just want to get consistency. Look, I get it, man. Maybe you've been doing it for a while. Maybe you say, well, I know it good enough. I don't need it. Look, I have a script for what I'm doing here, man. It's just a guideline to keep you on track, to make sure you're asking the right questions, you're touching base on what you need to connect with them on, and you're listening to them, you're writing it down, so then you can repeat back to them. We're going to talk about acknowledging the customer. So, everybody talks about active listening. I want to vomit when people talk about active. Who knows what that means, man? You want to know what it means? You're going to acknowledge somebody. I understand, man. So, Steve, what you're telling me right now is you got a problem with new hires. You got a problem with your internet department not making enough calls, and you feel like your follow-up is not where it should be. Would that be correct? Yeah. Awesome. Perfect. Let me ask you this, man. Let's get 10 minutes and I can show you a way where I can actually transition and get that to the next level. You got 10 minutes? Absolutely. Why? Because I'm listening where the problem is, and then I'm going right into acknowledging, and then I'm going right into setting the appointment. You got to know this stuff, man. If you don't know it, man, you're going to get killed out there in the marketplace, man.
Yeah, one of the last things that I think we would talk about for the sales meetings too could go off this question right here, role play. How often are you role playing the material? Because I'll tell you, it takes less than a day to get rusty. So if you don't have a script and you're not role playing it, then what happens is you're just winging it, you're guessing, you're shooting from the hip. And I'll tell you so you might even think about yourself on this, because you probably want to be selfish and think about, maybe that's not good for me. Dude, it's not good for your customer. Like if you got a good product, a good service, like if you guys got the right vehicle to put in somebody's, household, dude, you should have a good script that should benefit the customer. And so this is where I've seen a lot of scripts. Like, the guy said, hey, I got a script, but dude, how good is it? I've seen a lot of scripts, you call up a company and you're just trying to get some information on something. That's why you call them instead of driving over there. And then they want to take you through their script that basically says, it gives you everything they want first. Oh, well, how'd you hear about us? What do you want? I'm like, dude, I just called up to get some information of it. Do you even have this product? Oh, yeah, well, we can't give you that over the phone, but you can come in after 5 minutes of collecting data. Dude, you're going to frustrate people, and they don't have time for that. They're going to go to somebody else, and that's why there's a whole program in the training system that talks about the buyer's needs on the call. You want to hit on those first to get what you want. So this is where maybe you have a script. Dude, I would tell you that if you're not using your script every day, it's because it doesn't work all the time.
And Jonathan Jonathan Gonzalez, how you doing, bro? Thanks for jumping on the show. He just brought up a good point. He goes, great salespeople don't think they need the basics sometimes. And I'm gonna tell you right now, everything is the basics, man. You always got to revisit it, because look, you can never study enough. You can never not hit the foundational aspects in the sales process. And that's what we see all the time. In the automotive business, people skip steps. People are like, oh, I don't need to demo the guy. He's already seen the car. Yes, you do.
You don't get deals that way.
Yeah.
You don't get deals that way. How many times have you tried to bypass the steps of the process and then you lost the deal, and you were thinking, even when the customer come in and is like, hey, man, I don't need to do that, and then they bypass the whole cycle, dude, you probably lost the deal. I'll tell you that, look, the greats, the people that I know, the Grant Cardones, every time I have any type of coaching with Grant, he never talks to me about advanced stuff. He literally dials the whole thing down to something that he would have talked about inside the most basic fundamental material. There's something he always talks about. He's like, man, the magic is actually in the fundamentals. This is where you got to get these down. And I would tell you, the successful dude, they're not a successful sale. Who are you comparing it to? That's not something that somebody who is actually really good at what they do says. Nobody who is actually super successful. You don't see Elon Musk and Grant Cardone. You don't see Grant Cardone saying, oh, I don't need that, or I don't need to go back to the basics. Dude, because training should be like a muscle. Mm-hmm. If you don't maintain it and if you don't keep it up, dude, you lose it. You know, so this is where like a lot of what we're doing here, a lot of the coaching, a lot of the strategies, that book right there needs to be in your hands because you need this for your career. You guys are gonna spend $49 going to the 10X phone sales, and we're gonna give you something you're gonna use for the rest of your career. So if you got 20 years in your career, dude, we're gonna give you the answers now.
So we're going to close out today. I just want to make sure you guys had the 3 tips today. We covered a lot of content here, and that's what Steve and I are dedicated to do for you guys every single Friday, man. We just want to give back, and that's why we're doing this phone skills webinar. Neither one of us are going to get rich on $49, man, but it's like we feel like it's essential for us as Grant Cardone Enterprises to provide massive value because we want to see all you guys being successful, man. That's the key. You got to want to see other people be successful, and you got to do that by providing great value. So that's what we want to do for you. So number 1, you need to have the meetings every single day. Just make it like a 10 or 15 minute meeting. Number 2, you got to talk about successes. You got to talk about the opportunity. You got to talk about wins. Essential. And then number 3, you got to talk about the things that are happening inside of your dealership, new programs, spiffs, new inventory, whatever's constantly moving. So nobody there is in mystery. So if a customer calls in, whether they walk in or on through the door or they call on the phone, everybody needs to know what's available, what's not, what program, where they need to push them towards, what's the goal, what's the target. Do it every single day. And then also, man, you got to do these one-on-ones. Do them on Mondays, do them on Friday. So look, man, we appreciate you guys jumping on today. We love coming to you every single Friday, providing this value. And then before we jump off, I just want to have the guys throw on there one more time, the phone skills webinar. So like I told you before, man, this is the last time I'm going to do it. Last time, because we're getting ready to go live, man, next Saturday, right? And we're filling up. Those of you who are watching this, we appreciate your loyalty. So if you email Steve at Grant Cardone between now and 10:45 Saturday morning, I will get you free access to attend. This is going to be 3 hours. I promise you this will change your life. So I'm Jeff Bounds.
I'm Steve Spray.
And this is the 10X Automotive Weekly. Hey, I'm Jeff Bounds, and I'm the head of retail with Grant Cardone Enterprises.
And my name's Steve Spray, Director of Sales.
And we got an important message for you guys today. We're having an emergency webinar August 15th on how to become a master at phone skills and communication. As you see behind us here, this is the house that Grant Cardone built purely by leveraging the phone. Follow me. So we want to give you guys a little sneak peek here inside of Cardone Enterprises and let you see how important the phone is to our organization. So here's a sneak peek inside 10X headquarters here. And what you see behind us, the phone is not just for sales. This is our customer service operation here at Cardone Enterprises. And every single day, our business is leveraged by being a master on the phone. So take a walk.
So guys, in here we have over 20 people on the phones making sales. They're doing cold calls, warm calls. We're doing calls that we're getting in front of the hardest people to sell in the world.
If I could put an extra $1 million into your business this year, what would that do for you guys? He hung up.
Let me show you exactly what our sales team's doing right now. They're on the phones, they're working deals. We're gonna teach you exactly how we set up a call. This is my guy, Jared, right here. He's working with a guy right now. He's got a coach next to him. We're gonna teach you every single thing that you need to do, say, how to pitch via a video presentation. If your sales has changed and now you've got to sell more online, if you got to sell through virtual video, that is going to be something that is new to you, and we're going to teach you the best practices and how to sell millions of dollars through the phones.
And then of course you got Grant Cardone every day that's coming to you from this smartphone in about 8 to 10 minutes to help your people with the hardest parts of their job. Whether it's closing deals, whether it's following up, whether it's handling objections. Does that make sense?
And we want to invite you to join us on August 15th for a live webinar on phone skills and communication. As you see behind us here, this is 10X headquarters. This is the classroom that we have here. And we were gonna have an event here in August on phone skills and communication mastery. But obviously with everything going on right now in the world, we wanted to make sure that there was no question that we can get this information to you, because I think you would agree over the past 3 or 4 months, the whole world has had to pivot through COVID-19. And I gotta tell you right now, more than ever, Phone skills mastery and knowing how to communicate with your customers is essential to being able to move forward into 2020 and into 2021 and being able to maximize your sales. So look, I invite you to join us August 15th at noon. We're going to be dropping so much value, so much knowledge to you in this webinar. I promise you it'll be one thing you don't want to miss. Join us then.